What dispositions do you possess that make you a successful teacher?
Well, some of the dispositions that I possess that make me a successful teacher is I have high expectations of my student and their work. I'm fair to them. I think I have a fairness disposition where you look at every child objectively and you don't hold anything against them. I'm extremely compassionate. I think that's one of my strong suits as a teacher is the compassion that I show my students. I'm honest with them when the work is really good, is up to par. I let them know, and even when the work isn't up to par, there's always a way that you can speak to students in honesty and in love and with compassion. That you can convey that the work is not meeting the standard. However, these are the things that they can do in order to make the work meet the standard. I have a respect for the diversity of others and my students. My students come from different backgrounds, different cultural backgrounds, different ethnic backgrounds, sexual orientation backgrounds, all those things. So just understanding that even though people don't see the world the same way that you do or view the world the same way that you do, respecting them and understanding that they're a student in your class and you still need to give them that fairness, that's something that I hold very highly as well. And I'm dedicated. I think for me, teaching is not just solely relying on something that I do. It's not just a passion. Within the way I just look at life, teaching is a calling and it's part of my purpose. It's tied to ultimately who I am. And so because it's tied into my purpose, therefore I have a lot of dedication towards it. So those will make me, yeah.
So what dispositions do you need to work on to grow as an educator?
I think the biggest disposition I need to work on as an educator is reflection. I think as the day goes by and you just do things and do things and do things and do things, for me anyway, I just do things and do and do and do and do and do. I don't really take time to reflect upon how things went or how, like the inner working of things. And because of that, sometimes I can miss like little small things with my students that I think if I would take the time to reflect on a lesson more in-depthly or reflect on, the way maybe something may have came across in the way that I spoke or said something to a student, why they couldn't understand something or get what I was trying to convey to them. I think if I do more reflecting and more in-depth reflecting, it definitely make me a better student, a better teacher, forgive me, and it would help me to grow as an educator. Also advocacy. I think a lot of times with me, if the principal says something and I know it kind of goes against it's not the best for my classroom, or she would want something to be done and I know that it wouldn't be good for the student, just because my principal, I do it. And I need to be more of an advocate for my students to make sure that their voices are heard and their needs are met, because that's one of my roles in the classroom to do for them.
Okay. So what does a professional educator look like and how do they behave? What standards guide their thinking and actions?
A professional educator looks like me. Professional educator looks like the professor that's in his classroom. I don't think there's any one look to a professional educator. I am somebody who believes that you can teach students in jeans, sneakers, tie, suit. It's not the look of you or technically what you present to them. It literally is just what you do. So I don't think there is any one specific look to a professional educator. I don't think he looks like a man. I don't think a professional educator look like a woman. Particularly, it's anybody who takes up the mantle as being a teacher and holds them true. Well, a professional educator does have a behavior though, and you are to keep it extremely professional at all times. I believe a professional educator should be able to understand lines and not blur or cross any lines into a personal realm where they can be compromised as well as their students. They can compromise their students in any way. I believe that some of the standards that should guide their actions and their thinking will be whatever state you're from, there are state standards that are there, and a way that in which an educator is to conduct themselves. And following those rules and following those guidelines will ensure that you not only are a good teacher, but you uphold these standards to make you a professional as well. These standards are there to protect not only the students, and these guidelines are there not only to protect the students, but to protect the teachers sometimes as well. As a teacher, it's really hard to see maybe a student struggling in a personal area of them, and you want to go in and blur some lines because you now have this emotional attachment to the student. But the guidelines and the rules are set there to protect both parties, so that way, if something were to happen or a kickback were to occur, no one's losing their job, no one's going to jail, or no one's life is at stake. So these are all the things that I believe as an educator that you can do in order to become a great educator. Because we have people who just teach, and then you have people who educate. And I think along the course of my career, I want to be somebody who not only teaches, but educates students as well.